He pitched my idea to the board with my code, my diagrams, and they gave him a standing ovation. I sat in that meeting room, silent, watching my best friend steal everything I built. No one knew, not yet, but what happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. The moment I saw the slide, I knew. It was during the all-hands meeting. Lights dimmed, projectors humming, half the room pretending to care. Logan stood there in his tailored blazer, all charm and veneers, pacing like some kind of thought leader. He clicked to the next slide and said, "Let me introduce the Pierce Project." And there it was, my interface, my logic framework, right down to the predictive cluster engine I'd modeled during a 3 a.m. panic attack 4 months ago. The room nodded, some even clapped. I sat frozen in my chair, teeth clenched so tight my jaw buzzed. There was no mistake. He hadn't tweaked it, he hadn't iterated, he had copied. What hit hardest wasn't the theft, it was the precision. Logan didn't fumble this. He executed it like a professional, scrubbed the metadata, changed the file names, swapped out my variable names for his usual lazy syntax. It was the same exact codebase, just repackaged in a designer's suit. And he did it with a smile I'd seen 100 times, the one he used on dates, on interviews, on every professor he conned into giving him a second chance. Charming, harmless, trustworthy. I had told him everything. I'd walked him through the supply chain model I'd built, the inefficiencies I'd reverse engineered from months of research, the exact value proposition it would bring to mid-sized distributors. I'd shown him because I believed we were still the guys from college, sketching product ideas on napkins and daring to dream big. But I was wrong. He never wanted to build it with me. He just wanted it first. And as he soaked in the applause, talking about cross-platform scalability and value-driven disruption, something in me cooled, not boiled. Not a flash of rage, not a plan for revenge, just an internal shift, a locking of gears. There are betrayals that scream, and there are the ones that rearrange the architecture of how you see the world. This was the latter. When the meeting ended, people slapped him on the back. My boss nodded in approval. No one looked at me. Why would they? I wasn't in the story anymore. But they'd remember me soon enough, because Logan hadn't stolen an idea. He'd awakened an adversary. I became invisible, and that was the point. While Logan strutted through the office like a crowned prince, basking in stolen light, I shrank. Deliberately. I let him believe I was sulking, defeated. I nodded when he mentioned my project in meetings. I clapped when the board singled him out during stand-ups. He thought my silence was submission. It wasn't, it was surveillance. While he bathed in attention, I went to work, quietly, obsessively, like a man sharpening a blade in the dark. Every document I had, every draft, every line of code, I time-stamped it all, cataloged it down to the hour. Paper trails, digital fingerprints, devlog history, Slack screenshots. I even had photos of whiteboards from late-night brainstorming sessions at my place, his handwriting clearly absent. But that wasn't the real leverage. The real ace was the version he never touched. I'd always held something back, something cleaner, faster, built from scratch after I'd learned from the mistakes of the prototype. It had smarter logic trees, adaptive routing, and a dynamic feedback loop that would make logistics managers salivate. It was the version I didn't dare show anyone, because a part of me hadn't believed I was ready. Logan cured me of that fear. I spent 3 nights in full blackout mode. No texts, no music. Just me, the glow of a monitor, and an algorithm coming to life under my fingertips. By 2:47 a.m. on the 3rd night, I had a fully deployable build. I closed the lid of my laptop like a vault and poured a drink I didn't enjoy. There was no thrill, no victory, just confirmation. I wasn't outplayed. He was just early. Jason Myers picked up on the first ring. The man didn't need convincing. He remembered me. We'd spoken at TechNext 2 years earlier when I was just some R&D drone with a decent idea. This time, I brought proof. Documentation, benchmarks, deployment simulations. I laid it all out in a booth at a diner off 8th Street. Coffee between us. Napkin sketch for dramatic effect. Old school. Jason's expression didn't change much. But when he saw the performance delta between my version and Logan's public demo, he leaned back slowly and exhaled through his nose like a man doing the math on someone else's downfall. "You want a job?" he asked. "No," I said. "I want territory." 2 days later, the badge clipped to my chest read, Director of R&D. I didn't climb back up. I built a better mountain. The press release went live at 9 a.m. sharp. No countdown, no build-up, just precision. A single-sentence headline, black on white. Vector Core announces launch of Vector Chain, AI Logistics Redefined. It didn't scream. It didn't need to. The product spoke louder than any pitch ever could. Smarter interface, cleaner backend. Fully operational beta with 3 live enterprise contracts inked by launch day. Every pain point Logan's version glossed over. Mine solved. By 9:27, Slack channels at Vanguard were melting down. Screenshots flew like shrapnel. Their internal build hadn't even reached integration testing. By 10:05, Vanguard's stock had dipped 7 points. By 10:22, Logan's name stopped appearing in the company-wide threads. And by 11:30, I made my post. Just text. No image, no hashtags, no fire emojis. Innovation doesn't happen through theft. It happens through obsession. This app was built from nights no one saw and mistakes no one helped me fix. For anyone who's ever had their work stolen, don't fight back with rage. Fight back with results. Eli Mercer, Director, Vector Core. By noon, it had detonated. LinkedIn lit up first. Executives reposting with words like brilliant, classy, masterclass in poise. Reddit threads followed, dissecting the timeline, the ethics, the absolute poetry of the takedown. Hacker News labeled it the cleanest public execution in startup history. But the real collapse was quieter. Inside Vanguard, Logan's empire began to rot from within. Slack DMS stopped pinging him. His calendar went dry. HR requested a documentation trail for every contribution he'd made in the past 6 months. I didn't leak anything. I didn't need to. People started connecting dots on their own. Turns out mine wasn't the only project he'd borrowed from. By Friday, I was back at Vanguard, not as an employee, but as leverage. Jason and I were there to negotiate the merger. The moment the elevator doors opened, I saw him. Logan, shirt rumpled, tie loosened, eyes sunken and glassy like a man who hadn't slept in days. For the first time, he didn't smirk. He looked at me the way a soldier might look at the bullet that missed him the first time but came back with better aim. He didn't speak, just watched, and I met his gaze without a shred of pity. He wasn't my friend anymore. He was just a space I'd stepped into, because I didn't come back for payback. I came back to take his place. It didn't end with a bang. It ended with a signature. Ink on paper. A merger press release riddled with neutral words like strategic synergy and shared innovation goals. But everyone in the room, and far beyond it, understood what had just happened. Vanguard wasn't acquired, it was digested, swallowed whole, repurposed, and repainted with the Vector Core logo. I didn't demand Logan's firing. That would have made it personal,
Messy, weak. Instead, I made him irrelevant. The board met behind glass 3 floors up. 2 days later, an internal memo went out. Logan Pierce has left the company to pursue other opportunities. No applause, no farewell email, just a quiet vanishing act, papered over by vague professionalism. But in every hallway, every back-channel Slack thread, the whisper echoed louder than any public scandal. He stole from the wrong guy. Recruiters didn't call him. They warned each other. Too risky. Tainted. You heard what happened, right? His LinkedIn went silent. The comments on his last post, the one where he grinned under a banner that said Innovation Awards finalist, slowly turned sour. A few people unfollowed, then a few more. The algorithm buried him. Meanwhile, I got to work. No celebration, no public gloating. I sat at the helm of the new R&D division, 27 engineers, 8 product leads, full discretionary budget, and a green light from the board. Not because I asked for it, because I earned it. Every morning I walked into that office with nothing but purpose. No suit, no speech, just clean code, straight talk, and a memory like a loaded gun. I knew what Logan was, and I knew there were more out there. Suits with smiles, handshakes too firm, eyes always scanning for an easy climb. I don't waste time on them anymore. Because Logan was never the real threat. He was the warning, and I turned him into a case study. No need to fire a thief when you can let the system chew him up and spit him out on your behalf. Quiet, surgical, permanent, and in the end, that silence was louder than anything I could have said.